Well, I might be getting a little bit ahead of myself, but that parts truck's going away, and I got to make sure that I can communicate with the ECM through this thing. So far, I just pulled this one little piece of loom off of here. But according to that print that I had, pin 58 right here, this dude, the dark green is your data link. So that's all you need to communicate through OBD2. So I got him pinned with the meter, and I followed him through, tugged on him, and it looks like he goes to this green plug here, and right there at the end. So I probed it out with the meter. It's that wide pin there, and you can definitely tell the dark green wire. So just so you got a little visual aid here, if I go and touch that wide one, oh, the connector flipped. It's this wide one down here. Well, you should hear it beep. Let me hit the beepy button. Uh-oh. Did my thing fall out? What? It's one of these. There it is. So you got two wide ones on one side, one wide on the other, and it's that one. So I'm gonna go harvest that connector out of the truck and as much wire as I can, and hopefully I can get this wire back into the cab before I have to splice it so that it never gets corroded. And also my data link connector is this long. That's all I could cut out before it disappeared into the abyss under the dash. So we're gonna go harvest that now. The truck's going away. Today's Thursday. It's going away Saturday, so I got to get as much stuff out as I can to be able to work with this thing. Well, I suppose you guys followed me out here, so I might as well show you something. This is the green one. Remember a while back there was green and purple, and I said I don't know where these things go to. Well, here's green and here's purple. I still don't know a whole lot about purple, but it looks like he heads down to, that looks like taillight stuff. So not super important. Not really sure why I was plugged into the ECM harness, but also not my concern. We got this dude. Unfortunately, this heads right into that fat piece of loom. Let's get the hood jacket out of here. This dude here, see that big piece of loom that goes right into the cab? That's kind of unfortunate because, you know, inside the cab, that big old honky tonkin' thing is right there, taped up. Right there, taped up. And I'm willing to bet it heads north, not south, into this connector. So, I don't know, there's a green wire right here though. It looks pretty suspicious. See him right there? No, you don't see him right there because there's no light. How about now? You see him? That one there. Right there. We'll go ahead and I'll run back, grab my meter. Make sure, it looks like maybe it's a green and a white. No, it's solid green. Get my meter, ohm out all those pins, make sure that none of them are it. Because if they are, that's pretty easy to cut out and take with me. But I have a hunch, a little hunch, that it comes up through here. See it back in there? And then does a dirty old reach around into one of these BMS connectors. So that'd be unfortunate. I'm gonna go just probe every single dark green wire in here till I find it. And then, you know, there's another dark green wire right there. Into the back of this fuse block. But it's, you know, it's a communication wire, not a fuse wire. So I don't know. There's a chance that it comes down into here and then works from there, but not super likely. More to come. Well, it's the next day, and last night had some time to do a little bit of digging, a little bit of drinking, and I found the data link where it comes into a connector that goes into the cab. So then I started thinking, when I got the book and everything, I couldn't find the green wire in the cab. But if we look at the blue ECM from this is the GM Upfitter catalog, blue connector, pin 58, right here, dark green, circuit number 1049, ECM, PCM, VCM, class 2 serial data. That's the OBD2 plug. That purple wire talks to everything through that class 2. So then I got, this is a Duramax Haynes book. It shows the connector, but it doesn't show the pins. So that's, I asked around in a Duramax group and they said go to that GM Upfitters page. Anyhow, here's class 2 data, dark green, and it comes into this splice pack, SP205, which is purple, or the wire coming out of it's purple, which comes to our OBD2 connector. There's that purple dude there, right there. So did a little probing this morning, and I could get continuity between this, the other end of this green connector here, this pin that's attached to the truck yet, the female end, and the cutoff piece of this inside the cab is definitely tied solid. So now we're gonna go back out there and see if we can't pull that splice pack open. I think I found it, so we're gonna go look at that next. Before I get too crazy, so this is the little setup I got. I got my meter attached to that pin with the green wire coming out on the female connector out in the engine bay, right where the fuse panel used to be. And that goes into this harness here that ships up through the cab. I tried to pull that whole thing in, but failed because there's a lot of wires there and they go everywhere. So I'm hoping I can skin the loom off of it and then just pull the wires out that I need and cut the rest. We'll see. On the inside, I got the meter, set the continuity with a beep. And then this dude here is my negative lead. So what I found at this point is, if I kind of ripped some of this out already, but this plug back here, right there, is the bulkhead that plugs into the fuse block. And then, I don't know, this harness under here, I pulled back already. This block, I think, is what they're calling the splice pack. So from what I can see on the back side, it's not super conducive to filming, but there's a dark green and a purple that go in and come out of here. And then somewhere in this mess right here, these wires cut off. That's the other end of my data link connector. So if I take my meter and I probe this purple right here, see him? Hear that? That means that that's attached to the plug out there. So I went back for screwdrivers, supplies, and took a video of the book. And now I'm going to pull this white cap off of here, probe in, see if I can measure the green from inside of here. If so, I'll cut them free and then try to pull it out through the harness. And then when that goes poorly, I'll probably end up just cutting the plug off flush out there and splicing something in. More to come. Well, folks, boy, it's about 5 minutes later now. Back still hurts. Camera's still a bad angle. But we made progress. So the front of this thing here, I couldn't get it off. What, for being inside the dash, this dude, the white piece. But I got the pin retainer out, which gave me access to the back side of the pins, which is pretty cool because if I keep my hand out of the way and don't shadow the light, then here is purple. Here's green. So, that's the splice pack. Number 205 according to the book. Which sucks, because that means that wire wraps the whole way up through that whole loom up in here that you can't see because it's, well, it's up there. But maybe if I'm lucky, I can cut that thing and then pull it out back out to the firewall and just get my communication wire out. Then if there's an orange and maybe a black, I can cut those a little bit less, particularly, and give them power from something outside. We'll see, but that's great. That makes things kind of easy, kind of hard, but we're definitely going to be able to read codes from that PCM today, which is awesome. So, I'll see you probably once the connector's out of the truck. I'll do another little update. I'll let you know how bad it sucks. We're busting out the big guns. I'm not really sure how videoing on this computer screen is going to go, but I'll try my best. I think this is that splice pack, and then this is where all the data links come in. So down here is the engine controls, and it goes through this connector, which I believe is the one that I'm pinning out, that is under the hood. And then dark green comes in to pin B on that data, or that splice. Then, where are you at? Right here's our data link. So, it doesn't say a color till you get down to here, purple. But it shows it double pinned. And then the other part is this theft deterrent thingy. So, if nothing else, you got this to look at. Don't quote me on anything, because I don't actually know if this is the splice, but it says SPLS right here. So, anyhow, I came in to look at this part number here for the that connector. So I'm going to try to find that next, and then see what else is run through that connector, because that is proven to be a lot harder than I thought to try to pull the wires out of from inside the cab. So stay tuned. Yeah, this is a little more confusing than I thought. It gives you the whole way to like R as you search this connector number in the upfitter's book. So I think what I might have to do is, for today, I'll just crimp a connector onto my data link and just slip it over this pin here, and then provide it power, ground, and then I'll plug this harness back into the ECM, and then I don't know if I need to plug all that stuff into the engine or not. Then I gotta go through this thing. I brought the fuse panel back over yesterday. It's right here underneath the book. Well, not that. Also not that. I got this guy here so that I can plug all the fuses back in and give that power. That way I can power up the ECM here and see if I can talk with it. Then I know I'm good to get rid of that truck. I'll cut the other two connectors off just in case I need them. But then whenever I go weeding through this harness to make it standalone, then I'll just trace back where each one of these go and see if they go to a plug over here, and then I can cross-reference them from this plug number because I think that's more accurate than anything else I'm going to be able to find on that. And then figure out what I need, what I don't need, and what I need to add. So that's the plan, because the other plan went poorly. So I'm sure you guys are wondering what all those words I just said meant. That means that it's too hard to try to get those out of this loom, and I need some of them. So I'm just going to take them all right here, right there. Just going to fucking cut them. And then they make these fancy things called solder sleeves that solder it and seal it off all in one go. So if I have to splice them in the engine bay, so be it. But that's going to be a lot easier than trying to pull this whole thing out and weed out what I want. So I don't know. I'll make the bed and then I'll have to sleep in it. So after hours of painstaking labor, mostly to get the Chinese battery trickle charger to put a charge on my dead battery, my bench harness is ready to test. So a couple videos ago, remember when I pulled all them fuses out? I think I actually let you watch me do it. I didn't even time lapse it. Well, gotta put all them back in, at least the ones that are important. Based on here, you can look through, and that center plug pretty much is this vicinity. Put in the ones you need, and that'll give you all your orange wires, your constant hots. These studs on the fuse panel are your constant hot that feeds all them fuses. Pink is key on power, so I'm guessing it comes from one of these guys. So I went and harvested all those plugs just in case I need them. But I think you can scan a ECM with just the constant hot. I'll go verify that on my other Duramax. But, so I hooked up positive to that. My ground here, it comes off all the engine grounds on this harness that I could find easily without much effort. This is my data link connector. So, this is that connector I cut off the, I don't know, out of the engine bay. Green to purple, just like they did in the cab, comes over to my OBD2 connector. Orange is constant hot, so it's tied to this wire that'll get clipped into here. And then ground over here comes through, and these two are ground. So I guess if I don't want to do anything else fancy, I can always just unplug this and keep it in the truck and have an OBD2 port in the engine bay. But I'll probably more than likely extend all these and bring them in and mount that where it's supposed to go and, you know, make it look semi-professional. So I don't know if I can get a decent camera angle, but I can certainly try. And we'll use the old Harbor Freight flashlight camera stand. You bring this guy out to your desired phone angle, and then set the phone in there and hold it down. How's that? That might do something. So I got this fancy pants topped on off eBay. Pretty cheap, like $400 or something. I don't know. I'm gonna try it with this one first, and if this works well, I'll grab a cheap one so that you can see that it's not just the fancy pants ones that work with this. It's the cheap ones too. Alright, so that guy's in hot. Here's the other end of our jumpers. And we'll take them over to the battery. Minus. And plus. A quick tap, see how much spark we get. Just a little bit. Hey! Uh-oh. Yeah. Look at that. She's talking. Can you see that from there? A little bit. Well, I didn't read the VIN, which is kind of concerning. Skip. Sorry, this does not support automatic detection. Please select the mode manually to enter diagnosis. Diagnostics. Services. It's been a while since I used this, so bear with me. I'm a little bit concerned why it can't read the VIN though. Uh-oh. Let me see if I can get you a little bit closer. Other modules. OBD2. So now this thing is, can I move this? Not very easily. Oh no, we fell off. Let's get this out of the way. Get this out of the way. This is in the way. Everything's in the way. How's that? Well, you can see the whole screen now. So, I got an access failed fault. Which is kind of unfortunate, but such is life. So, the ignition has to be on, so we do need key on power for this. So, let me out the pink ones and see where they get their key on power from. I gotta get rid of this. Let's shut this thing off. Now, let's flip this around. Oh, there's a live spider in here. Get out of here. Scram. Alright, well now there's a dead spider in here. Can you see that? No, you can't. Alright, let's readjust the camera stand so you can see what we're doing. Zoom out a little. Okay, So, pink wire is key on power, I think. I'm gonna go with it. So we grab a pink terminal, and then we just go till we hear a beep. No beep. Where does that start at? Great. I definitely got orange, no pink. Alright, please hold. I'll get back to you when I know what I'm doing. Well, while the other Aaron is trying to figure out where key on power is at, we're over here performing the same test on the 01 that's all in one piece. So if this thing auto detects the VIN, then I got something wrong. Oh, look at that. Same thing. So yeah, same thing. So I got to get key on power, because if I do this, roll the key on, then we plug it in. Look at that. So I gotta go get key on power to the computer. Perfect. Well, I'll let the other Aaron know that we gotta get key on power to the computer.